We have, because we started a bit late, we've been allowed 5 to 10 more minutes to go over. And my first question is actually going to be extremely relevant to the presentations from all of you. And it's a very important one that a lot of countries are asking us here in ESCAP as well, is you've all made use of existing data, like if it's mobile phone data or administrative data or data that you can get your hands on, and producing these flash estimates and these real-time data in response to COVID-19, in whatever area. How are you checking the accuracy? And as senior people in your offices, are you retroactively checking the accuracy? How are you assuring the quality? And are you putting a different quality standard on these? Are you doing different badging to these statistics? And you know, how are you assuring the quality of the statistics that are coming from different methods, different data sources? So that's a very good question that was actually asked to all of you. I might go around the 5 speakers on that question, and we'll start with Canada and then move to Colombia and so on. So Ivan, this question of quality for your real-time flash estimates.
Thank you very much, Gemma. That's a very good question. And we're being asked this question internally and in the country and by data users as well. Sometimes questioning us and even wondering what we're doing as a national statistical agency doing crowdsourcing surveys and relying on non-probabilistic sample to disseminate results. I think that a lot of the work that we did regarding nowcasting, modeling, and not yet on forecasting, but at least in providing more near-time estimates was already in the work. It's already stuff we were doing, but not necessarily disseminating. We were a bit shy of disseminating these things. But the need for information was so big when the pandemic broke that we were asked to, well, don't try to keep the culture of being precise and the data quality above all. I think it's important that we have at least good information. And I think we were greatly encouraged by our chief statistician to go in that sense. And we did things we never thought we could be doing, or that we thought we'd be doing, but maybe in a year or 2 from now. But this really precipitated all this work. As far as it goes for measuring the quality, I would say there's a bit of everything. We really do retroactively check for accuracy of thing, but that is, that is good then, but we don't know if this is going to verify going forward, because there are structural changes in the economy operating, and we don't know how this is going to be affecting the models we're using to do our retroactive quality checks. So we don't know that this is going to hold. So there's a bit of uncertainty around this. So I would leave it there, but I'd like to hear what my colleagues have to say on this.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ivan. Juan Daniel.
Thank you, Gemma. I believe that the quality challenge is something very important as regards us. It requires that national statistics offices start to develop a multi-dimensional approach of quality. Yeah, because we need to see the quality of the standards of administrative records. We need to see the quality standards of satellite imagery. And at the same time, we need to take advantage of the system of administrative records that we have available at our National Statistics Office, because this allows us to improve the quality of the information. For example, when you have a household survey, you have the opportunity, to have the possibility to have a typing mistake of the national identification number. But if the National Statistics Office has access to the national identification database, we could improve the quality of the national identification number and allow the integration with the health administrative records and the labor contributions of the administrative records. So I believe that precision and quality have to become multidimensional, and we have to learn from the precision indicators, for example, of econometric models or random forest models, for example, in the integration of the household survey, which is a labor market perspective from the demand side, and the administrative record of the labor market, which is the health insurance contributions that employers and employees contribute to the social security system. We see that the integration through the random forest model requires new F1 precision statistics, something like that. And from the geospatial information, we also need to develop and improve an ongoing quality framework in order to be able to guarantee the accuracy. But I believe that the fact, in order to close my answer, the institutional framework of having a national statistics system under which the National Statistics Office has the availability of all the administrative records that both private and public sector institutions are producing is an opportunity to have a big lake in order to have contrasts of quality of the information. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Shran Daniel. Kachuk, your perspectives on quality during this time.
Okay, thank you, Gemma. First of all, I want to inform you that the use of big data in Indonesia is only supporting the official statistic. So we didn't publish it as an official statistic, but this is very useful. For example, in order to get the indicator of the number of flight passenger, we get administrative data from Minister of Transportation, but it's on a monthly. But the big data for flight tracker, we get it daily. So we combine this information to make sure that its sources will support each other. Secondly, in order to check the quality of big data, we consider two things. The first one, the sources of big data, whether the sources is eligible and can be trusted. And secondly, we also develop different algorithms. If different algorithms produce the same result, it can be a sign that the quality is okay. Because so far, there is no exact way how to measure the quality of big data. It really depends on the sources and the algorithm. Thank you, Gemma.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kachuk. No, I think that's that checking the output from both the algorithm with big data from your traditional sources. That's a really good good strategy, and I think that we got lots of nods from the other speakers there. So well done, thank you very much, Craig, Dr. Craig, and then we'll come to Dr. Chung.
Thanks, Gemma. Look, my response is probably a summary of three people who have spoken before me in some respects. Like Ivan and like I mentioned in my talk, some of what we've produced was work that was already underway and was just the timing enabled us to push it out more quickly than we might have done otherwise. So to some extent, there was a level of quality assurance that sits under it anyway, and we do apply a threshold of quality assurance across whatever we're publishing, because it is on our website, on our Statistics New Zealand website. So while we're very clear that these are experimental and some of them are not produced by us, they're actually, the data originates from other agencies or elsewhere. So we're very transparent about that, and the fact that the accuracy may be less than we would for our, put into our official statistics. But the one thing I would say, and this is the thing that we're being quite transparent about in our discussions around it, that accuracy is just one part of data quality. There are lots of other aspects of data quality. I'm sure we're all familiar with the models. The timeliness and relevance and accuracy and other things all make up data quality. And I think that's really what we're what we're pushing into here is saying, you know, in some circumstances, for some things, we do need timely information, even if the accuracy might be lower than some of our cardinal statistical series. So for me, the key is just that transparency, and we're very clear, and it's, you know, it's labeled everywhere that you can see it, that it, you know, these series are experimental, subject to change and volatility and other things like that. But really, where I think, because the question for us now is, do we continue with this, and for how long, and how do we sustain it? And I suspect the answer is yes, we do, because, you know, we'll always keep publishing our cardinal statistical series, but I think increasingly we need to be in this space as long as we're clear on the differences between the two. But the big drive for me, I think, is that we need to build data literacy among the people who are consuming our statistics, because you know, the opportunity to, you know, to be presented with fake information and, you know, deceptive information is out there on the internet day to day, and you know, we need to be the transparent, you know, truth holders, if you like, telling people what they can and can't infer from the information that we present. But their ability to consume it is the thing that keeps me awake at night.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Craig. And Dr. Chun, the last word with you, please.
I think that Craig has well said about this multidimensionality of the quality of the data, the quality of the data, and that's what we also we're on the same page. So it is important to actually recognize what is the what are the merits of the big data, or I would rather call it organic data, because it grows and grows continuously. And then without, you know, I think the data users and producers recognition. So in that case, I think I would rather pay my attention to, you know, what are the merits and what is the power of this organic data, such as the big data from the private sector and admin data from the official statistics and then all the governmental agencies. And so I can use this sort of organic data for different kind of, I think, the utility when it comes to total, you know, I think the survey life cycle. If I use this kind of, you know, I think the paradigm from survey methodology. So if the big data is helping us to improve our imputation process when it comes to non-responsive and surveying and census, let's use it. And we don't have to, you know, delay that. And then can we use this organic data, such as the big data or the admin data, to do some more, you know, data disaggregation, so we can learn more about, you know, all these specifics, geospatial characteristics at different levels. And so I think the conventional, the survey data does not have, you know, I think the good amount of data to handle that kind of data disaggregation. When we combine, or when we actually link, you know, big data to the survey data, we can have a better sense of, you know, all those data disaggregation. And eventually, I think this is the question of, you know, whether we have the better data when it comes to evidence-based policy making. Conventional data collection like sample survey and then census and then other admin data are quite, I think, the short when it comes to timeliness. And then other sort of, you know, I think the policy, I think the sensitive, I think the data needs. And this is where I think big data is quite good. And I just demonstrated how I think useful the mobility data from, you know, private sector, and we can use it to measure, you know, how public is actually implementing social distancing measure the government has done. So that's a kind of example of how, you know, this big data can be useful and actually, you know, contributing to, you know, I think advancing the value of the existing data. And then I'll stop there.
Thank you very much. Thank you much. Well, this comes to the end of our session this morning, and I'd like to thank all of our speakers, Her Excellency Minister Ayush, Mr. Elliott, Ivan, Craig, Juan Daniel, Kuchok, and Asaf Young from Korea for all of your talks here this morning. We have run out of time. We had a few more questions online, but I'm just going to try and wrap a couple of them up in my summary here. The 5 presentations have highlighted that the statistics officers are already testing, already making use of various data sources, remote sensing data, machine learning. This question from Arif Musahandi from BPS Indonesia has been a great one to tease out from all of you, that the demand for information, COVID-19 in a way has given us a new impetus to tip the balance, I think was the language that Ivan used there, of making use of this data. We have so many tools available to us as statisticians to assure the quality of the inputs, like the data itself, to assure the quality of the processes in the middle, like the machine learning, the methodologies, the data integration methods. But more than that, we have great tools available to us to assure the outputs, to assure the quality of the outputs. We have quality frameworks for things like relevance of the statistic, timeliness of the statistics, coherence of the statistic. And I think that all speakers have just highlighted that we should all be looking at all of those dimensions of quality of the statistic. And in particular this time of COVID-19, the relevance and coherence has been, in my view, and timeliness, sorry, have been particularly important parts of the quality framework. We in addition to those standard ones. So we have this big lake, using the phrase there from Juan Daniel. We have this big lake of data, of methods, of quality standards, of processes, and we should feel very confident that we're using that lake to our best ability as official statisticians. Mr. Choi from Korean Statistics Training Institute asked a question of what percentage of the Sustainable Development Goals, of the indicators anyway, can be produced using big data. And I think the simple answer to that is it's a bit of a work in progress what that percentage might be. But this conference is an opportunity to get a better understanding of different experiences for using big data. So in this session, we heard of the use from Colombia of big data for SDG Goal 1. We heard the experience of the 4 other countries of using big data for SDG, well, for COVID-19 type indicators, but some of them are very similar to some of the SDG indicators. And I could please encourage you to go to session 3 of this conference, where we're going to hear about the use of mobile phone data for SDG indicators. In session 7, we're going to be hearing about the use of citizen science data for SDG indicators. But one of my favorites is going to be session 6, which is using satellite data and geospatial data for SDG indicators, particularly Goal 9 and the access to remote all-weather roads. So can I please encourage you to, if you have questions on how are countries using big data for the SDGs, we have 3 very exciting sessions, one on mobile phone data, one on satellite data, and one on citizen-centric data. So with that, I'd like to thank all 7 of our speakers, 5 of which are on your screen here today. And it's been a wonderful doing a tour across the globe for this opening session on bringing the community, statistical community and policymakers together at this time of COVID-19. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening this morning, and to all of our speakers. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you. We'll stay in touch, Ivan.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Thank you. Catch up.
Hello everyone, the session 2 will continue at 3:30 in Korean time. Thank you very much. 저희 세션 다 시작하는
거리예요. 그러니까 2시 반까지 식사하고 여기로 다시 와주시면 돼요.
회식 다시 하실 거예요?
네, 다시 올 거예요. 다 나가서
네, 이해하겠습니다. 네.
내일 하면
네.